Hello everyone. This is 2025 English Literature optional paper discussion. We have already discussed question number 1, question number 2 of section A, and today we will be discussing question number 3 of section A, and we have also discussed question number 5 of section B. So you can check out the videos from my channel, and today we'll be discussing question number 3 of section A. Okay, so this is question number 3 of section A. The first question is examine how the structure of the play King Lear, with its interwoven plots, contributes to the overall thematic concerns. So, first, you have to identify the themes, which are the themes of King Lear, and you must be preparing with the themes of all the works, and so you have to identify the themes, and you have to also identify the interwoven plot. So, what was the interwoven plot? The main plot was of King Lear and the betrayal or the daughters, King Lear and the daughters, and the subplot you can analyze it is of Earl of Gloucester and his sons. So these are the two interwoven plots, and how it is the question is asking how does it contribute to the overall thematic concerns. So you have to analyze these two plots and how these two plots contribute to the themes which you have identified. So starting with the discussion, the parallel plots of Lear and Gloucester, what does it do? It basically highlights the theme of injustice, because Lear is also betrayed by his two daughters, and Gloucester is also betrayed by his illegitimate son. So, so it. Uh, So the betrayal of Goneril and Regan mirrors Edmund's deceptive actions also. It shows how both fathers are victim to familial ingratitude. So by presenting these two similar betrayals, what does Shakespeare do? He basically emphasizes the universality of his this painful experience, and he tries to show that this painful experience can happen to anyone regardless of the social standing. Anybody, and a king can even experience uh, such pain from the sons and the daughters. Also, the play structure uses the physical and metaphorical blindness of both Lear and Gloucester to explore the themes of sight. So Lear is metaphorically blind to the true natures of his daughters, like Goneril and Regan. He cannot distinguish between true love and flattery. And when he says to Cordelia, when Cordelia says, "I cannot heave my heart to my tongue," and I love you according to my bond, not more, not less. So he says, in his pride and in his anger, he says, "I gave you all, and you gave me nothing." So he's not understanding basically what true love is. So in contrast, we can think of Gloucester. Gloucester was physically blinded by Cornwall because of his loyalty towards Lear. So this act shows and uh, and this act leads to his physical. The physical pain leads to the metaphorical awakening when he realizes that how how what a flaw was to trust Edmund. So the juxtaposition of Lear's internal journey from metaphorical blindness to a newfound painful clarity, and Gloucester's physical blinding that led to spiritual sight, reinforces the idea that true understanding often comes from suffering and pain, and not uh, through physical vision always. Okay, so also, if we talk about both the plots, so both the plots show how that disruption in the family relationships leads to collapse of the natural order and the social order, because at the end we see a lot of bloodshed, and only I think so Edgar was there who was surviving. Lear died, Cordelia died, and Edmund also died, and Regan Goneril died. So it is leading to a social and natural disorder and collapse. So Lear's decision was to divide his kingdom. upsets the established hierarchy, leading to a chaos. So this is reflected by the lines which he says in the storm while he was sitting there, and he says, "Blow winds and crack your cheeks." And as Lear's madness mirrors the storm, shows a world is going out of balance. And also the subplot on the same way, with Edmund's ruthless pursuit of power and his disdain for the legitimate order, further illustrates the collapse, because Edmund was in relationship with both Regan and Goneril, and this shows how collapsing world was taking form. So so by showing the disintegration of both the families, the play basically brings out that the betrayal of the natural bond leads to a societal decay. Also, the parallel journey of Lear and Gloucester towards self knowledge, we can say, forms the core of the play, because they finally understand of what true love is, and what who is their own, or who is trustworthy. So Lear's madness on the Heath is a brutal process of stripping away his identity as a king and forcing him to confront his own humanity and vulnerability. He carries he when he cries out in pain, he says that I am a man more sin against than sinning, or I'm not more than this, or some statements from the play you can use, where he cries out of pain. And Gloucester's journey is equally transformative. After being blinded, he is led by Edgar, who was disguised as a poor Tom, and this reflects on his past actions. And he also says a famous quotation, that is, "As flies to wanton boys are we to the gods, they kill us for their sport." So this line encapsulates his despair and newfound philosophical understanding of human suffering. So the shared experience is being reduced to their most basic selves, that is stripped of their power and status. So this allow both these men to gain a profound insight to their lives brutal realities, which they were denying in the beginning of the play, when we have seen was when Cordelia expressed her love for Lear. Lear denied her love and banished her from the kingdom. Also, we can say, when we can talk about the death of both Lear and Gloucester. So the death of Lear and Gloucester was, um like, it serves as a kind of purgation. The Lear's death, clutching the dead Cordelia, is a culmination of his suffering and the final moment of tragic clarity. And Gloucester's death, recounted by Edgar, was of sorrow and joy, as his heart burst into moments of reconciliation with his son. Gloucester was happy meeting his son, and died there. And on the other hand, Lear died in pain of the daughter which he loved a lot. So he was basically howling the death of the beloved daughter. So this double tragedy does not offer a neat resolution, but instead leaves the audience with a profound sense of devastating consequences of human folly and injustice. So the mirroring of their fate ensures that the thematic weight of the play, the brutal lessons of love and loyalty and suffering, is felt with double force, so creating more powerful and unforgettable tragic experiences. Okay, so next question, if we discuss how the mock epic style enhances the humor and irony of narrative in the Rape of the Lock. So if you are starting the preparation, do a clear analysis and research about what a mock epic style is. It is already mentioned in the syllabus, but you have to prepare topic wise also. So prepare about mock epic, what is a mock epic. Also prepare what is humor and irony, because these are the terms which are being used. And if you have a little bit of um, if your understanding is not very much crystal clear, you will not be able to identify how irony has been used in Rape of the Lock, or how humor has been used in Rape of the Lock. So these are basically simple terms, but there are some terms which may be a difficult one, or difficult to understand in the exam. So better to prepare beforehand. Any term which you come across and you find a little bit of confusion, just prepare something, prepare 1 2 lines about what actually it is. Like I was when I was reading about these question papers, I came across the word of bildungsroman. So initially when I was when before the preparation started, I was not knowing much about bildungsroman and how these words are. So it is basically to, you have to prepare, you have to you have to analyze the previous year questions, and all the previous year questions will become your notes, and these notes will help you to answer the questions in the coming year in which you will be appearing in the exam. That you will be benefited from the previous year questions and the notes which you have made from it. So discuss how the mock epic style enhances the humor and irony of the narrative in the Rape of the Lock. So we know that Rape of the Lock was a mock epic style um, poem, basically a long play and poem, sort of. And it was like and it how it says mock epic style enhances the humor and irony of the narrative. So the mock epic style of the Rape of the Lock enhances the humor and irony of the narrative by applying the conventions of epic poetry in a trivial subject. So, what is the subject? The subject is the lock of a hair, and and it is elevated to a style where the hero or the heroine basically is Belinda, and we'll see how things are presented there, and and the things which are of utmost importance are being treated as trivial subjects. A social quarrel over a stolen hair of Locke is the main theme of this mock epic style work, The Rave of the Lock. So this juxtaposition creates a humorous and satirical tone, highlighting the absurdity of upper class concerns. So so the mock epic style. What are the mock epic style? First, the if we start from the beginning, it is invocation of the muse. So the poem begins with the traditional epic invocation, like when he calls upon a different kind of muse. So instead of goddess of war or inspiration, like Paradise Lost, Milton used the invocation of muse. Now, Pope, what he does, he asked his friend John Carlyle what might contests rise from trivial things. So, the poem that introduces a system of sylphs or garden spirits who are assigned to protect Belinda's beauty and virtue. So, these miniature air-dwelling creatures derived from the Rosicrucian philosophy are the humorous substitute for the powerful gods and goddesses of the classical epic. Like you can take a reference of Paradise Lost. There is Satan, there is Michael, and all these archangels are there. But in contrast, in the Rape of the Lock, we have miniature airborne air dwelling creatures of like sylphs and all. So Ariel wants Belinda on patch a mole, a hair. So it shows that their divine purpose is to protect the trivial aspects of lady's appearance. It shows there were 20 or 50 selves protecting the petticoat or protecting the gown of Belinda. Also, the poem's central conflict, the cutting of Belinda's hair, is portrayed as with the same, like the language is very heroic, and it is used to describe the epic battles. The rape itself, the term, if we talk about the title, the rape itself is framed as a mighty confrontation between Baron and Belinda. So Pope describes that the Baron's separation as a Baron's preparation. Like a warrior preparing for battle. So he uses these phrase like he saw, he wished, and the prize aspired. The act of cutting the hair is a dramatic climax, and and it is described as a brutal assault. And the word is used in the title. You can also see the word rape is used as a very violent term to express so how simple or trivial aspects of life are elevated to a heightened position to to show the contrast and how and to expose the absurdity of the society. So the mock heroic language makes the incident absurdly over dramatic, and it satirizes the social importance placed on such minor events as the cutting of a lock. Also, Pope applies elevated descriptions typical of the epic poetry to everyday objects and the rituals of the 18th century upper class. If we remember about Belinda's dressing up, so Belinda's dressing ritual is presented as an epic hero arming for battle. Her toilet table was described as an altar, and where she prepares for the day, the puffs, the powders, the patches, and Bibles. So how Bible a book, is a book basically now also, is a book which guides human morals and human understanding. So this Bible, such an important book, is placed with puffs, powder, and patches. So it shows that what are the double standards of the society. So it shows that, and it also are, these things are laid out as a warrior's weapons. So the mention of Bible like along these things creates an irony. So it would also suggest that the equal importance of trivial vanities and religious piety in Belinda's life. So this serves to mock the priorities of the elite class. Also, the poem parodies the epic journey by portraying a simple boat trip on the river Thames, if you can remember. So, the card of Omber is described as a great battle with the cards personified as armies and kings. And Belinda's speech to assembled crowd after the lock is cut is a parody of Hero's Lament. Now, she cries out, "Oh, hadst thou, cruel, been contest to seize hairs less in sight, or any hairs but these." So her lament, while melodramatic, ironically reveals her concern is not with the moral transgression but with the loss of a mere physical adornment. How physical adornment was so important to her, and the hypocrisy of the society is also expressed in these lines. So Pope liberally uses epic similes to compare trivial actions to grand heroic events, and when he says like the glittering four forfex, uh, scissors means the glittering scissors is compared to the legendary weapon. He is describing it as like the sword which the Actaeon wore, so ironically elevating the scissors to the level of heroic sword. And similarly, Belinda is given the epithet the fair. So by bestowing these formal heroic epithets on figures engaged in petty disputes, what does Pope do? He underlines the disparity between the perceived importance and their actual insignificance. So it creates a constant source of humor and satirical commentary on the vanity of the society. So moving to next question, how does Wordsworth represent the impact of childhood and innocence in the poem Ode to Intimations of Immortality? So this is a very important poem, and many of the times the questions have been asked from this poem directly. And the first line also have been asked in the previous years. So prepare this poem, and a 15 marker or 20 marker is being asked. So the other poems are not that much used in the questions in UPSC paper, but this poem is a fairly important one, and all the many of the lines, because it is a fairly long poem and many of the lines are important. So analyze this poem in a detailed manner. Okay, so what does the question say? How does Wordsworth represent the impact of childhood and innocence in the poem Ode on Intimations of Immortality? So, okay. So, in this poem, William Wordsworth, what does he do? He just explores the childhood innocence, and it represents a state of pre-mortal glory and the connection to nature's spiritual essence. The poem the poem basically argues that the innate purity is gradually lost as we grow up, and yet its memory remains as a source of solace and wisdom. It is a interesting poem. You must read it, not just for the the syllabus and for exam, but also there is the it reflects the philosophy of Wordsworth. uh, it is asking the impact of childhood and innocence. So how does it represents? So Wordsworth begins by positing that the child arrives from the divine spiritual realm, and he says our birth is but a sleep and a forgetting, and the soul that rises with us, our life star hath had elsewhere its setting. So this idea suggests that the child is not a blank slate or a blank piece of paper, but a soul which is carrying memories from the celestial home. So, this innate spiritual quality gives the child a profound and mystical connection to the natural world that adults can no longer perceive. As we grow up, we no longer perceive where we had come from, because as a child grows up, he or she no longer remembers the memories of the celestial home. Also, to the child, nature is not a physical landscape. It is alive with the celestial light and glory. So Wordsworth describes how the world is apparelled in celestial light, and the glory and the freshness of the dream to the child's eyes. And this is a direct representation of child's innocent vision, which sees beyond the ordinary, the deeper, to the spiritual reality. This vibrant, pure perception is unique to the childhood and is contrasted with the adult's jaded and mundane view, because adult cannot see the celestial light, because the adult, as we have discussed earlier, the adult has lost the vision of the vision of the um, celestial celestial home, and cannot remember about those, but the child can see that. Also, as a child like gradually grows and enters the adult world, the initial glory fades, and Wordsworth uses the metaphor of a traveler moving away from home. Like at length the man perceives it die away and fade into the light of common day. So he says, like, the celestial light is faded into the common day, and this process is not sudden, but the loss is slow and inevitable decline caused by the pressures and concerns of adult life. So the poem laments this departure from the visionary state and mourns the loss of pure connection with the celestial world. Also, even though the celestial light disappears, the memory of it remains powerful, as a powerful influence, because Wordsworth find comfort in the recollections of early childhood. So, stating that the trail of clouds of glory do we come from God, who is our home. So, the memory of this former state of glory is that which allows the adult to connect. However, it is a faint connection, but to the divine sources, at least the person is connected. So it is not a full return to the innocence, but a reminder of it. So also, the poem argues about the memory of childhood innocence, and provides the childhood innocence provides a form to immortality and hope. So Wordsworth concludes that even though we lose the splendor in the grass and the glory in the flower, the philosophical understanding gained from this experience is great consolation. So he says ultimately he finds his answers to this to the questions and to the doubts which he has been posing in the initial stanzas of the poem. So the primal sympathy and the shadowy recollections of childhood provide an enduring sense of truth and purpose, proving that the spiritual essence of childhood is not entirely lost, but it transformed into a source of philosophical wisdom which guides a person throughout his life. So this was like how the impact of childhood and innocence represents it's represented in the poem Ode to Intimations of Immortality. So this is I have discussed in a detailed manner all these three questions. So you have to compress and compile and make the crisp points out of it, and also you have to put quotations from the text. So it will make a wholesome answer of it. So try to add your own points also, try to add on your analysis, write the answers, and send me in the email id which I have provided in the description box. and we'll be discussing other questions also. Question number 4 we have to discuss, and then we'll be done with section A. Then we'll also start section B, and further paper 2 will also be discussed. Till then, keep practicing. Thank you.